Welcome to the rookies, everybody. We'll see how it goes, but this is hopefully going to be a weekly or semi-weekly game where we can get together with people who haven't played Jump Rangers together before, start introducing people to the game, and do a couple things. We're going to be opening up gameplay. These are all writers and gamers and people who love world building. Buster is now a screenwriter.
Damn it.
Congratulations, Buster.
Yeah, I guess I got to join the guild at some point. I don't
Liz
know.
is also now a screenwriter.
Yeah, we all have incidental screenwriters now.
We're going to take a little bit of time here just to introduce everybody. We're going to take some time to discuss just very quickly the safety issues around safe role playing so everyone is on the same page when it comes to how this works. And then we're going to talk through what Jump Rangers is and how the character creation process works. And we're going to make some characters and introduce Liz and Buster to the world of Jump Rangers. This is called Session Zero. That's what this is for. My vision for this game is to use it as an opportunity to create some new content for Jump Rangers. So what I would like to do, and it's okay if Buster and Liz, if you want to correct my course on this, but what I would like to do is hear who your characters are and what you're interested in. And I will start developing campaign material to suit what you guys want to do with the game.
Today is for the backstory.
That's right. That's exactly right. And once we have that foundation, I'll start working on next week's material for session 1, and I will probably wind up publishing that stuff once it's done. Does anybody have any objection?
Yeah.
Okay, cool, excellent. So that's the plan. I'm Tennyson Stead. I'm the creator of Jump Rangers. Just finished the rough draft of the novel, so congratulations to me for that. We have a
Good
tabletop.
job.
Thank you. There's 5 supplements. We have a Patreon. There's always a link right down here to the Patreon. If anybody wants to support the game, you get access to all the supplementary material, the current draft of the novel, all the fantastic concept design that's coming from Federico Estevao, who plays with us on our meta game stream on Saturdays. Meta game is the devs play Jump Rangers stream where we destroy our dignity and fail at our own game. This is where we brought in actual gamers to show you guys how it's done. So that's me. Buster, thank you for joining us. Thank you very much. Do you want to tell the stream who you are? Oh, we have people on stream. Welcome, everybody. Feel free to ask questions, chat, if you have them. If you're speaking, Buster, I will let you know that your mic is muted.
I know. I hit it all the time and like try to be polite, and then I forget to do the thing. But yeah, hi. My name is Buster the Destroyer. I am a streamer here on Twitch. I mostly stream Star Citizen and usually like sci-fi or space-based kind of games. I have quite a bit of experience in role-playing overall. Of course, play Dungeons and Dragons, Star Trek Adventures. You know, those of you who know me from there. Kapla, you know who Baj is. And I've even taken that character to several different games and shows, which that's just the multiverse. It's like Prime, you know, versus Kelvin, all that. So, but anyway, yeah, I play a lot of space kind of stuff in general. I like space stuff, so this kind of was up my alley. And yeah, I'm really happy to be here. Thanks for having me. And other than that, like in real life, I am a studio manager, I think, at this point. I guess a screenwriter. I don't know. I just do what people ask me to do, and I'm happy to do it. So, until I'm not.
Thank you for the Buster support, Victoria. Much appreciated.
Yeah.
Liz, welcome.
Buster, no!
Welcome to the rookies. Liz, why don't you tell us who you are and what brings you here?
Well, I mean, a longtime gamer, but most of my experience is in fantasy stuff, not so much sci-fi. So it's kind of fun to reach out of that. As a writer, I also write mostly fantasy stuff. So it's nice to do something that's a little bit different. Though I, D&D will always be, my heart of hearts. I co-run a small studio in Portland where we just do a lot of creative projects. I'm the writer. The owner is, and CEO is the resident artist. So everything we do is based around the fun parts of life, and there's no reason why this shouldn't be too. I mean, it was kind of one of the favorite things is getting to play games.
That's awesome to hear. I part of the reason why this game is happening is because I think there's a huge element of play that's missing from our culture right now. I think that people have gotten very used to consuming and very used to processing information, and we all love stories, but so many of the stories that we are engaging with aren't playable in the same sense that you can't dance to some music. There's a lot of intellectual properties out there that do not actually encourage imaginative engagement so much as they encourage just digestion. And I think there's a lot of reasons why Jump Rangers is happening, but this is a big one. So I'm glad to hear you use that word, and I'm glad to hear that's important to you because I think this may be a chance to get that out there. So before we dive in and start talking about what Jump Rangers is, I'm just gonna put a couple of rules on the table. First of all, abuse. In Jump Rangers, we don't say or do anything that's intended to hurt other people. On the internet, people can sometimes have pretty important sounding reasons for hurting one another. Sometimes they do it to teach a lesson or make a point, and other times they do it purely for the entertainment of themselves or others. In Jump Rangers, we call these behaviors abuse. Abusers will be removed from the Jump Rangers community swiftly, as permanently as possible, and without debate. Hate speech. Our community accepts and welcomes all people, regardless of their skin color, race, gender identity, sexual preferences, abilities, neurodivergences, age, religion, spiritual beliefs, nationality, origins, or superpowers. Any attempt to limit who feels welcome, accepted, or free to express their imaginations will be dealt with as an act of hate speech. And the people responsible will be removed, and so on. Silencing. Especially in a role-playing game, every person's voice and perspective matters. In particular, a person who has first-hand experience with a particular issue should always be trusted to explain that issue to others. If a woman says that something is sexist, believe her. If a person of color says that something is racist, believe them. If a person from the LGBTQ community tells you something is homophobic or transphobic, believe them. If a disabled person says something is ableist, believe them. Silencing people when they are speaking, or explaining the ways in which a person might not understand their own first-hand experience, is a form of abuse. So, rules of good and fair play. Agency. During gameplay, a player always has the right to determine the actions of their hero. So, we're not going to be taking people's characters away from them in this game. Consent. I got a little beep. I don't know what that was, but I don't think it was on stream, so I'm not going to stress about it. Consent. Before introducing new themes or plot elements to the game, always ask the heroes if those ideas are safe to explore and whether they have any questions or concerns. Do not proceed without the permission of everyone in the game. There's a whole bunch of rationalizations people have for not doing this, but at the end of the day, this is a collaborative storytelling form. Our fun benefits a lot more from trust than it does from surprise. So don't stress the surprise when it comes to Jump Rangers. Timeout. For any reason or for no reason at all, a player or the storyteller can call a timeout or type TO into chat. If this happens, we wait for the person who called the timeout to explain the reason for it, and the game can only resume when everyone is satisfied of their safety. Listening. If a player says they feel uncomfortable in a game, or if they appear to be feeling uncomfortable, it's okay, it's good, you must check in. And if they say they're fine, they're fine. And if there's something they need to work through, we work through it. Okay? Listening is what that is. Early game, if someone wants or needs to stop a play session for any reason, we do it. There doesn't need to be a reason for it. They can just be tired or uncomfortable. It doesn't matter. The game can be resumed later. Post-mortem, we will be checking in after every game to see if there's any issues that anybody needs to resolve, just to make sure that everything's fine. I always recommend this after a play session. And finally, session 0. Every Jump Ranger story is called an opera, and it's always a good idea to make the first episode about discussing the themes of the story, the safety guidelines, the backstories of the characters, as Liz said, and the rules. Give people a chance to ask questions. This is that session 0, and the foundation we set here is going to help build the trust that we discussed. So that's what we're doing here for your viewing pleasure, and I thank you all for joining us. As we say in the Jump Rangers, go high and go far. So, what is Jump Rangers? Liz and Buster, have you read the second chapter? It's okay if you haven't.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So then I won't go into all the little bitty details. But the gist of this universe is that humanity was right on the cusp of figuring out our problems. After a lot of struggle and a lot of strife, we almost had it. and then giant motherships descended from the sky bearing giant telepathic dinosaurs.
As they do.
As they do, giant telepathic Tyrannosaurus rexes with an army of telepathically controlled undersaurs at their beck and call and just brushed our civilization aside. They just took it. They just took the planet. Now, in the face of that kind of overwhelming force, the only way that humanity could survive was by sneaking aboard those alien spaceships and basically hiding in the untidy corners. People have become the bedbugs or cockroaches or the borrowers, if you like, of the galaxy. The only way that people have managed to survive is by hiding in these unkept corners and building little colonies. And then when these motherships land on other planets, we're able to disembark and build colonies there. So we have literally spread across the galaxy using other people's interstellar travel. We don't have any of our own. Now, the grown-ups in this universe are living in kind of a post-apocalyptic nightmare. It turns out that these giant alien dinosaurs are not the only giant alien terrors of the galaxy. There's also giant alien robots, which are making war with the dinosaurs, which makes the front line of that war the one place where we can transition from dinosaur space, the Saurian horde, into robot space, the Loom. We actually have to get off of a dinosaur spaceship and get onto a Loom spaceship in order to transition into Loom space, and then we follow those spaceships off into the galaxy. They don't need life support, but they do need laboratories. So before you ask, no, they don't have. Most of their spaceship is not habitable to people, but there are really terrible parts of their spaceship that are. So there's also giant bugs, and ultimately what we've discovered is that we are actually pretty small.
Yeah,
So
we're finally the ant colony.
that's exactly right. So while the grown-ups are living this kind of somewhat desperate post-apocalyptic kind of existence in the corners of these other alien spaceships, some of the kids have decided that instead they live in a space adventure. Being small and adaptable is suddenly very useful to surviving in this galaxy. The grown-ups aren't really all that well suited to sneaking aboard alien spaceships and stealing alien technology or finding new trade routes to other colonies that we've lost touch with or any of the other things that we need to do. Finding a way to retake Earth. All of these things are very dangerous things that grown-ups are not cut out for. So, over the course of the last couple hundred years, a core of kids between the ages of 5 and 17, or 18 really, has been built slowly over the ages by enterprising kids who have recruited other kids into this process. They are the Jump Rangers, and they are the ones who are leading humanity to a brighter future, while the grown-ups are trying to hang on to what we have. So, this is a game about, locking and loading and fighting giant dinosaurs. It's about sneaking aboard alien spaceships. It's about discovering new alien planets. It's about figuring out how to move colonies of grown-ups from one place to another. It's about figuring out how to retake Earth. It's about unlocking the mysteries of alien technology. All of these things are being done by the younger generation. And to be clear, if you've been following along with the book that I've written, it's obvious that there are grown-ups who have tried to appropriate the Jump Rangers. It hasn't worked so far.
As they are wont to.
No, kids are not stupid.
No.
And they know your tricks and they know your games. So, being a Jump Ranger is all about taking accountability for the future of the human race and working towards that future in an active way, despite the overwhelming odds. And one of the fun parts for me about Jump Rangers has been that kind of all of the visual memes and concepts and ideas and and I guess themes that have gone into science fiction and adventure science fiction over the course of the last several decades keep fitting into Jump Rangers just about perfectly because you're seeing everything through the eyes of a child. So you might see something that seems kind of familiar, but you're seeing it for the first time.
Right.
And you're seeing it with a sense of wonder, and you're seeing it with a sense of fun, and that kind of unifies all of these other things. So, for example, we have space mice. Voltron had space mice. Space mice are not new. There's very few new concepts in Jump Rangers. There was a moment not too long ago when I was designing the space whales and their relationship with humans, and it turns out that humans have figured out that they can build relationships with these space whales and build giant kind of interstellar bases in their gullets, huge oil rig looking places with ships landing and taking off and flying out through the blowhole of the space whale, and there's that's steamy, and I was like, this is Pinocchio.
Yeah.
Except it's not. And that's kind of
Well,
the key to understanding Jump Rangers as a whole aesthetically.
okay.
Is that there's going to be a lot of concepts here that, like, space dinosaurs. Okay, well, we saw that in the 80s. This isn't even classic. This is just all the pulp that you've been thrown. What unifies it is that perspective and that sense of adventure and that sense of fun and that sense of duty that these kids have, and how different that is from watching an adult character engage this stuff. So, when we play Jump Rangers, we are playing a relatively new ranger. You've pretty much just finished your training. You haven't really had a career as a Jump Ranger yet. And so there's a lot of things that are going to be a little tricky at first. And figuring out the rules and how that works is going to be part of making the most of your character and figuring out what you're really good at until you can beef up your skills. Using skills and expanding your character's abilities is mostly about doing the work of expanding your skills. It's not so much of an experience system. So if you're not good at something that you want to be good at, don't panic. We can just take some time in the game to do that.
Like actually role play the development of that person, the skills, rather than.
Yep.
All right. Well, you met like a threshold. Now you just get better at everything.
Now we have both. There's two. Do you guys have character sheets in front of you?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Do you have a character sheet, Liz? Okay, great. So we'll talk more about this, but looking at this character sheet right here, we have basically two kinds of stats. We have strengths right here, which are interestingly shaped like 8-sided dice. Not a shock. That's how many 8s, that's your dice pool. So anytime you do a roll, you're going to be asked for your body, your heart, your mind, or your spirit. You have die pools associated with each of those things. After every single kind of mission, after every big story, you get to add a die to your die pool.
Okay.
So that's where that comes in. Now, virtues and training are all the things virtues are all the things that you're good at, and training is all the stuff that you've learned. Functionally, in terms of gameplay, they have the same purpose, but you get them in different ways. Okay? So, this is just to give you guys a quick dust up on how the system works, so as we build these characters, you have a sense of what the hell's happening here. Okay? I gotta curtail my language a little bit for these games, just in case we get kids watching. I figure what I need to do is get my feet really into the community and not worry so much about that stuff, and just practice being kid friendly for about 2 years. And then unleash the hounds,
Just put like a doll in the corner of your office and just pretend it's like, your 6-year-old or something, and be like, what would I not say in front of you? Okay.
That is a fantastic idea.
It's kind of weird.
Anything I would do, because I'm the sweariest mom on the planet.
Yeah.
I mean, every mom I know that's a good mom is.
So that's strengths. Okay, so let's say you had 4 dice in body and you were making a body roll. In Jump Rangers, we roll low. If you roll a 1, you get to reuse the die. Okay? The lower you roll, the safer you are. So, what you do on any given roll, and part of the fun of this game is that it kind of encourages argument and debate with the storyteller, which I like, because kids are so good at that. You say, you add up the virtues and the training that you have that apply to that roll, and that's your target number that you need to roll under.
Okay, yeah. I've played other games that play in that regard. Yeah, okay.
So basic training is the one thing you already have on your character sheet. Basic training applies to everything. There's no roll that you're going to make where basic training isn't going to help you in some way. But let's say you're
Right.
smart and quick and you're good with firearms, and all of those things apply to the roll that you're rolling. Well, that's a target of 4. You roll your dice of your 4 dice. Everything 4 and under is what we call a victory. How many victories you get determine whether you succeed or fail.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if your target number is more than 7, we start adding automatic victories to your roll because you're just so good. And that can happen. That can snowball under certain circumstances. You'll find that it's very easy to specialize in snowball. It's very hard to have generally amazing rolls in this game. So people are very encouraged to either think strategically about what they're doing or to prepare for their actions and use basically the compounding success rules. Do something simple, break it down into baby steps, and be good at the baby steps, and you will build automatic victories onto your roll. Or alternatively, you can use cooperative actions and use other people's virtues and training in addition to your own at the cost of some dice. So that's the game. That's the whole game.
Yeah. Doing stuff
It's
in
simple.
space against the dinosaurs and the robots.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
That's what we're doing. But the game
I'm gonna play
plays.
kids so good.
Buster,
Oh yeah.
I knew that you were the right person to ask.
Yeah.
I didn't have any questions about that. I just thought maybe you'd be too cool to play Jump Rangers. I honestly did, which was silly of me. But I do think you're that cool, for the record. And Liz, thank you for being here as well.
It's fine.
Liz has children, so she has experience with their behaviors.
Oh my goodness. Looking at that character sheet as I was deciding who I was going to be and
Try
trying
not to be
pick
my
an
kid.
age.
Try not to be my kid. Try not to be my kid. Don't play my kid in this game.
Picking an age, going, okay, what is the most annoying age for me? Which age do I just not? And I'm like, I'm not going to be 5.
I'm not going to do it. Oh, you could though. Absolutely.
I love them.
Here's the thing
I
about
love them. But oh
here's-
my god.
So let's talk about this for a second, okay? And you don't have to name your characters right now. Every Jump Ranger has a code name. The reason why Jump Rangers have code names is because Jump Rangers are heroes in this universe. People talk about what Jump Rangers are doing, and if you don't tell your parents your code name. Because if they're
that you don't want them to know you're a Jump Ranger. Okay,
they know you're a Jump Ranger. They just don't want to hear that you freaking.
They don't want to hear what atrocities you specifically committed.
They don't
against the
need to
dinosaurs.
know.
And that doesn't go away at 17 or 18 either.
Oh, and that's the other. This brings up a good point. At the age of 18, you're thanked for your service and you're sent home.
Because now you're grown up.
You're too big. You're too fast. I mean, you're too slow.
You'll slow us down.
That's exactly right.
With
now,
your adultness. God.
Kids do get big, and the bigger kids do have advantages in terms of what they can do with their bodies. But to Liz's point,
I was a huge 5th grader. I know this well.
But Liz,
I was the biggest 5th grader.
Younger kids haven't unlearned their psychic abilities yet. So if you want to play the Gnosis battery with the glowing eyes, like if you just want to walk around spewing lightning at people, like you can't go wrong with a 5-year-old. Like,
gotcha.
If you want to be now, again, your body is how you soak damage, so there's a balancing act there. But there is now you can practice. You don't have to forget your abilities as you get older if you stay in practice, and Jump Rangers are always in practice, so there's no need for you to worry about what happens as you get older.
Right.
You're going to be a very weird grown-up if you wind up being a Psy Ranger as a kid. There's just no two ways about it.
Yeah, you're going to have a lot of trauma.
But also, you'll probably still have the glowing eyes.
A lot of therapy.
So,
which is totally valid. I'm not knocking therapy.
That's how I got here.
Powered by therapy.
So, do you guys know what kind of age you want to be in this game? I say you guys. Do you find Rangers? Do you heroes know what age you want to be in this game?
I think of it in terms of like what would I feel most comfortable playing. Like I wouldn't feel comfortable playing a very young child because I feel like I'm 36. I don't know.
That's fair.
I would be like, I feel like I would be a caricature of a young child.
Okay.
So I'm probably gonna go for, I don't know, like 11, 12 range. I think that's pretty fair
You gonna go with 11 or
for.
12?
You know what? I'm gonna go for a 10-year-old. I think that would be.
All right.
I think I
So
can attack that.
let's see here.
I've
Okay.
got like the making a character part open.
Yep. So yeah, 10 years old on your age. I've got that right in front of me as well. Liz,
Okay.
what do you think? How old do you want to? 7? Did you say? You're muted. Okay. 7 years old.
Sorry, the dog caused me to mute.
No worries.
And I forgot.
So.
Yep, 7,
7 years
because
old.
that's the one I could do that in my sleep.
It's hammered into your. It's permanently a part of your awareness now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm on my last one.
Congratulations.
My last 7. Yep. Done it a few times.
My wife just had their last 17, I think. I think that's what we're up to. 4 boys. 4 boys.
Oh my gosh. She must be very good at making big meals.
Oh yes, that's absolutely true.
I lucked out that my kids are just, well, they're just awesome. But out of 5, for most of raising them, I had 4 girls. Now it's 3 girls, 2 boys. But oh my goodness.
Wow. Congratulations.
Oh my goodness. Now mine are getting married. So
they going to college, they get married.
I know. The 7 needs to stay 7, so let's go with 7.
Yeah.
If any stepsons of mine are watching this right now, they're looking at my smile at you saying getting married, and they're just sweating. But I don't think
I kept telling them not to.
Don't do it.
I'm like, wait, just wait.
So, Buster, you are 10 years old. You cannot have more than 5 dice in body.
Okay.
Liz?
Now the body, as I get older and things, that'll change, right?
Yep. Every
okay.
mission.
So I shouldn't put permanent ink on this, is what I'm saying.
No. Just put a little dash on your character sheet, and yeah, that'll go up as you get older. Liz,
I'll fill it in. And I'll just make a new sheet if I need to with pencil later, because all I got is a pen.
Liz, you cannot have a body of higher than 3 in character creation.
Right.
Now, Liz, your spirit is potentially as high as 6. It doesn't have to be, but you can have up to 6 dice in spirit. And Buster, you can have up to 4 dice in spirit. Those are the limits.
Okay.
So,
but I'm not going to fill anything in until we get further into this.
This is where we are right now. I'm just letting you guys know where those boundaries are. Though that's based on your age, just to be clear. I've got a little chart in front of me. So, you'll notice on your character sheet you have 1 die in each strength right now already filled in.
Right.
On top of those dice, you can have additionally 12 more dice, up to the maximums that we've discussed.
Right.
So now is the time to figure out what your strengths are. Just to be clear with you, anytime you're being asked to do something physical, we don't break up dexterity and strength into different roles in this system. Your body is your body. It's good at what it's good at. So you have body. Anytime you're being asked to figure something out or decipher something, that's a mind roll. If you're outsmarting somebody, anytime you're using your brain, if you're being asked for any kind of social role, if you're being asked to relate to people, if you're trying to convince people of things, anything of that nature, that's a heart roll. Anytime you're trying to take advantage of somebody, what kind of bonus does a left-handed Sagittarius have?
Yeah.
No bonuses yet, but I'm going to take that. I'm going to take that note. Although, if anybody is disabled, we have systems for that. So if anybody wants to play a disability, let me know. Liz, spirit is going to be particularly important for you, I imagine. Spirit is anything psychic. So your spirit is your ability to, and just so we're clear, this game isn't really limited in the things that you can do. Just because you don't quote unquote have a power doesn't mean you can't. So you can
try. Yeah.
You look
hack at
what virtues do you have? What training do you have? What's your spirit? And go for it. So if you can find ways of using your virtues and your training in innovative ways, you can do a lot of stuff. Spirit is kind of the the strength where you get paid for creativity. If you can figure out how to break the game, have a high spirit.
And you said we had 12 of these die to fill in.
That's right.
Kind of.
Yep.
And with those those ones are like maximums.
Yes, that's right.
So I can't have more than 4 spirit as a 10-year-old.
Nope. You can
Okay,
build it
that's-
later if you want to. If you want to train in that and you want to work on that, you can add to it later.
Right.
But for right now, at the beginning of the game, you've already started kind of like forgetting that you have these weird dreams. You've already started forgetting that you lifted that pencil off the floor with your brain once.
Yeah.
You don't remember how to do that anymore. You've forgotten that you used to see people and talk to them. All that stuff is sliding out from under you at 10.
Gotcha.
Not to get morose.
Right.
But hey, you've got a max of 4. You're still hanging in there. Did you already fill out all your dice, Liz? You know what you got? Okay.
And I feel like spirit is gets to be my version of ranged.
Oh yes. But also, I mean, you can do any number of things with it. You can do any number of things with it. You can use it in place of physical if you need to, under the right circumstances. You know, you can body somebody with a wall of energy if you need to. You can do all kinds of things. Anything your imagination and your virtues and training support. And if your imagination is coming up with things that your virtues and training don't support, go get the training or prove that you have the virtues.
Right.
You know, and that takes care of it for you.
Right. Oh, so many options. I feel like leaving a lot of this blank just for a minute till I
Sure.
To soak it in, yeah.
I know who I am.
That's fair. That's fair.
Doesn't hurt that I
I'm
started
the
this.
same way. I usually I work when I make a character sheet, I generally come up with an idea of what kind of person they are. And then I kind of come back to the abilities and stuff and pick it based on that. So I totally get that I totally get that idea of okay, I know who this person is, but I don't know what they're good at yet.
No, we got to have this ready by next week. That's for sure.
No, I got it.
So are you both as done as you want to be at this particular stage?
Yeah, I filled in mine.
I think so.
Okay, great. So a note on disability and neurodivergence. If your hero lives with a condition that affects how they move around, do things, or sense the world around them, people in the colonies have the technology to help them in the field. For now, just assign your character's strengths, including body, as though whatever technology your hero might need is already a part of them. Okay? So like if you need walking aids, assume that those walking aids are there, and what is your character's body with your legs, with your cybernetic legs, or whatever you need, okay? Now, how that works is you get to add virtues, like cybernetic legs would be a virtue. Anytime it matters that you have cybernetic legs, you get to use that as a virtue to control your target numbers. You see what I'm saying? You get to just throw that in there at any time. But if your cybernetic legs are ever incapacitated for some reason, you lose a number of body dice temporarily equal to the number of virtues that you took. So let's say you have cybernetic legs, but you also have cyborg strength. That's 2, which means your body would drop by 2 if you ever had your legs deactivated. If you can have sensory tools to help your focus as a neurodivergent person, you see what I'm saying? And so you could expand your senses. You can do all kinds of stuff with assistive technology, and you just need to be mindful not to let that assistive technology get damaged in order to protect your ability to do things. So you get to have superpowers, and it's a freebie. And I welcome the conversation where people tell me that it's unbalanced. I told Buster about anybody who's watching the stream knows I have had a disabled journey. Thanks to the film industry. Um,
Yeah.
and and it's good. It's trust me, this system is appropriate. I want this game to be accessible and fun for people. So, step 4: everybody gets one virtue based on their age. So, Liz, you're 7. You're a smart kid. Write smart under virtues, because that's right
Got
about
it.
that's right about when kids start to get smart in that scary way.
Yeah, they do. I wasn't eyeballing anybody right then.
Buster, you're 10. You're focused. Also, a good reason to be dangerous.
Yeah.
10-year-olds.
I know. I've already picked out my second one, so I'm
Oh,
good.
cool. Excellent. So, training. This is where we start to talk about your background as a jump ranger. Now, the training that you get as a jump ranger is going to be reflected by whoever it was that recruited you. Jump rangers
Okay.
there's no office. There's no recruitment center. No adults are helping with the organization of this. Jump Rangers is a
It's
very
just
loose.
whatever wing you got drawn under.
That's
Yeah.
exactly totally it. So there are 6 different corps that you can get pulled into. The Exo Corps is the explorers of the Jump Rangers. Jump Rangers that are particularly committed to getting aboard alien spaceships and going places no one's ever gone, or figuring out how to get to places that we've lost touch with, figuring out how to navigate space and where we can establish new human colonies where maybe people won't get hurt, trying to set people up, right? Set colonies up for success and that kind of thing. That's the Exo Corps. The Fight Corps is the stupid. It's exactly
Hey,
what
my
it-
brother was a Marine.
Oh, I love the U.S. Marine Corps. I have known. There's 2 kinds of Marines. There's the 98% and the 2%, and you just want to stay away from the 2%. But 98% of the Marines are smart,
True.
intelligent, like amazing people who are ready to help no matter what. Like, and you hope you don't meet those other guys. That's it.
Especially if you're a girl.
I can't even imagine. But I will say I have had so many good experiences. I met a lot of Marines at CitizenCon, and they were all like ready to
A
talk.
lot of service members at CitizenCon are former service members.
Tons, and specifically, people who
Marines.
Marines and Air Force.
I was gonna say Air Force and Navy kind of, because Navy kind of covers air stuff a little bit.
And then yes, the Army, but specifically IT.
Yeah.
No notes.
No. So the Fight Corps, they train to take the war to the monsters. They train to protect colonies. They train to protect ranger teams. They train for the fight against the alien forces that are trying to exterminate us. Psi Corps. These are the weird rangers. These are the rangers who very specifically train about the power within, and they train to access the secret powers and show the galaxy what human beings are truly capable of. The Psi Corps are dedicated towards not losing their psionic abilities as they get older, and they train in basically doing the impossible on behalf of the Jump Rangers and the human race. The regulars are the original Jump Rangers. And the history of the Jump Rangers is actually fairly well written. So we know a good deal about who the first Jump Rangers were. This was the system that they built for bringing new Rangers in, and their job was just to get people ready to go out there and help. So it's very much a cross-trained kind of approach to becoming Jump Rangers. The Tech Corps. Of course, the Jump Rangers have gadgeteers. So the Tech Corps. Yep. Well, you need that, right? You have to have that. You have to have the kid crawling around with a bunch of wires in their mouths.
What's a regular going to do without their Q?
It's exactly right. That's exactly
Yeah.
right. So
Or the Scotty.
That's it. That's it.
Right.
And so the Tech Corps is all about jury rigging things, building things on the fly. And in fact, Tech Rangers have gone on to become oftentimes leaders in technological fields throughout the colonies. A lot of the times when you meet somebody who's done something really amazing, especially when it was with minimal resources, that person started off as a Tech Ranger. And finally, the Xenocorps. The Xenocorps are a little bit mysterious. Basically, they're the spies of the Jump Rangers. They specialize in tracking, monitoring, figuring out breaking down alien society and alien technology. So these are the people who are actually figuring out how to live on an alien spaceship, or where it's safe to go, or what's out there in Saurian space. There's all kinds of
Very,
partnerships
very
that
scavengery. Yeah.
also very quiet usually.
That is not the core I will work for.
Yeah,
Sorry. Yeah.
But
Well,
then
I've already
again-
figured them out.
But then again, as you know, Buster, comedy is what happens when a character pursues a mission for which they are horrifically ill-equipped.
Yeah.
You might not make the best Xeno Ranger, but you might make the funniest Xeno Ranger.
Yeah, exactly. Which is why I'm putting sabotage on here. I'm going with the fight core for sure.
Fight core.
I think with what I'm thinking of, that is the most
Appropriate to your gameplay
Appropriate.
style. You just like to run in,
Yeah.
you like to charge in and make shit happen.
Are
Yeah,
you a tank?
Yeah, I think I'm getting tanky.
Tank.
I think I'm starting to get tanky. Yeah, I'm thinking because my code name. I'll tell you what my code name for my character is, and I haven't decided on which one it is. But I
Okay.
love the Flintstones,
Okay.
and so I thought it was gonna be Pebbles or Bam Bam.
Oh, those are both great.
Yeah, I
Roger
think
that.
Bam Bam's funnier because it's like, oh, a girl named Bam Bam, like because Bam Bam's a boy, so I thought Bam Bam would be funny. It's
I
like,
think it's
yeah,
great.
Bam Bam's here.
I like it. So definitely Flight Core for you. Your first training is going to be combat, and we'll pick two. More in a
Yeah, I
second.
saw. Yeah.
Okay. So Liz, do any of these speak to you? Any of these cores speak to you?
I mean, honestly, I think it would be great to keep my spirit high and to keep working through the psi stuff, but be
Okay.
a regular.
Absolutely. Totally.
I want to be a regular.
That's going to mean
I
you're-
kind of had a feeling you would like go for that because I'm like, oh, the size sounds kind of appropriate, but the regular sounds cool.
And I
Yeah,
tell you,
right.
like, so this makes it more of a journey for you. This makes it more of an effort that you're going to have to maintain because you're not going to have as much of a leg up on the training, but
Yeah,
you're going to be much more equipped for the basics, which is good.
right.
I think.
Yeah, and I've got that. You still got that stealth.
Mhm.
So a little stealth, a little psi, but you get to keep your feet on the ground.
That makes
Yeah.
I feel like this is a good place to be.
So your very first training is improvising, which you will find is exceedingly useful. There's
I know. I almost went with the regulars for improvisation
yep.
because I'm like, I'm a big fan of improvisation.
as
But I
lo-
figure between like sabotage and tactics, I can probably do some improvisation.
I have no
in that
doubt,
regard.
and you can always learn it.
Exactly. That's why I'm like, ooh, I can look at this stuff now and go, okay, maybe I can learn this later. You know.
Yes. All right. So we're gonna start with
I
Buster.
think
Buster, we have a couple of things for you here. You have to pick
Okay.
two for starters, and there's opportunities. Excuse me. There's opportunities to load up and more as we proceed, but this is where we start. Okay.
okay.
You got driving, and you probably have this list in front of you. Driving, piloting.
Yeah, I have it right in front of me. Yeah.
Driving, piloting.
I already picked sabotage and tactics.
Great.
Oh, that's good. That goes really well with improv too.
Yeah,
So-
for being if I'm gonna be a tank, I don't want to be brainless one.
That's a good.
You
That's a
know.
good impulse. So just for the people watching, this is driving, piloting, sabotage, Saurian starships, which is the interiors and the brutes of them. Saurian technology, stealth, tactics, and weapons. Those are the things that Buster had to choose from. And for Liz, we have driving, healing, human colonies, piloting, Saurian horde, which is a general knowledge of the Saurian horde, Saurian starships, stealth, and traversal. Traversal means getting literally across terrain. It can mean climbing, swimming. It can mean basically.
Oh,
So it's athletics, but specifically towards getting from point A to
moving.
point B.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Definitely going to go ahead and go with stealth and traversal.
I like
Hell
it.
yeah.
Okay, so you guys are a lot sneakier than you might appear at first. You guys are not.
Yeah.
You guys are not the blunt force weapons that you perhaps will wind up inevitably being.
Well, now the game's gonna go.
Because we all know how this goes. All right.
Exactly the opposite of my D&D games.
That's
Got it.
cool. Now, if anybody ever has any questions about any of these abilities as we go, please ask. And by the way, once we get through this, you can train in anything. So these lists are not exclusive to what you can do in the game. They're just where we start. They're what you were trained in. Okay? Now, every ranger starts with some stuff. And we're just going to talk through the list so that everybody knows what's here and what it is. All these things are already on your character sheet. Okay?
Yeah, okay.
Breathers
Right.
are exactly what Qui-Gon Jinn used. It's a breather. It allows you to breathe in adverse. It covers your nose and your mouth, and it allows you to breathe in dangerous fumes and filter them. Body tech is what we were talking about if you're playing a disability. Comm allows you to talk to other rangers. It does not communicate across star systems. It barely communicates across planets.
So it's local comms. Okay.
Data deck is for recording information and for downloading blueprints. Any info you might need to carry with you. Mail. Rangers.
So it's
carry
our cell
mail.
phone.
Yep.
The
The firecracker is the blaster weapon of the ranger. You can affix missiles to the front of the firecracker and shoot them off. So it's a versatile blaster. It does a decent amount of damage. It's a really good weapon. Flares, you have a flare pack, 2 daylight flares, which allow you to create daylight in the area, 2 green flares, which mean come help me, and 1 red flare, which means go away. So, for example, if you were overloading a Saurian Octonator, you might fire off a red flare.
How many of each again? How many? It was.
It's on your character sheet, but you have 2 daylight flares, 2 green flares, 1 red flare. Your food pack farms moisture and microbes and grows things for you to eat and drink. It's not nice. But as long as you keep it powered and you charge your stuff at the end of every day, it will keep you alive. Your grapple is a grappling hook with a winch line that affixes to your belt. You can fire it from your blaster.
Batman.
Very much. Your jumpsuit is the uniform and the fatigues of a jump ranger. It has a hood that can be pulled over to seal you up against environmental threats, so it doubles as a spacesuit. It has a climbing harness for your winch. It's everything you need. It's got a little octonator on it so you can charge your stuff. You have 1 med pack to start with, which basically amounts to 1 automatic victory on a heal roll.
Okay.
And you have a torch, which clips onto your weapon. It clips onto your helmet. You can use it to see. That is all the stuff that you start with. Okay? That's everything that you're given to begin the game with. Now,
Okay.
we have 10 bonus dice here. We have a number of gadgets that you can choose from with costs between 1 and 5 if you want to explore the tech. We have that available for you. You can have 1 new strength die for 10 bonus dice. You can just take a strength die and be done with it. You can get a new virtue or a new training for 5 bonus dice.
Oh, perfect.
So you can go for 2 new virtues, 2 new trainings. You can do a virtue and some gear. You can do a strength die.
And like you and back to virtues. Virtues is just kind of like that's like a freestyle thing. You don't have like a list of those I have to pick from, right?
No, if you
I'm missing.
a
Okay,
virtue
cool.
is a word that describes your character as opposed to.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean,
So-
I know, yeah. It's very similar to Star Trek Adventures. Like, there's some things on this. I'm like, because we have a virtue list on them too. So
Oh,
I was like
cool.
making sure, or something similar to it.
So you were focused, right? Anytime what you're doing requires focus, you get to add that to your target number. If
Right.
you're doing something that doesn't require focus, and this is the fun part, is like you will get into arguments with people all the time where the storyteller's like, I don't see it. And they're like, no, because this. Like, and that's a big part of the Jump Rangers gameplay experience. I figured, like, why go around arguing with the storyteller? We know what's going to happen. I'm just going to gamify it. Like, if you can convince me, you get the points. If I'm pretty sure I'm right, then it's my job to keep the game moving and shut down the conversation.
Right.
Like, and the cool thing about the gameplay that I like is that it actually, if kids are playing, they actually have to stand up for what they know they can do.
Yeah.
Like, this is what I'm doing, and here's why I can do it. Like,
Right.
That's the actual game mechanic. Like, I like that. Anyway, I'm proud. I'm proud. So
It's a good one.
thank you. You're right. That's absolutely true. I'm bad at accepting compliments, but I'm at least becoming more aggressive about accepting compliments.
Yeah.
It's a work in progress. So what? Which one of you feels more ready to start? Liz, do you kind of know where you want to go with this?
Not a clue.
Not a clue. Buster,
I do.
Okay, talk to me.
I picked another training. I picked piloting.
Great, good choice.
And I like okay, earlier on the virtues, when we did virtues, we only had one to start with, right?
Yep.
So this next one is my 5.1, which I put assertive. I have focused and assertive.
I like it.
Ooh, I like that.
I like it. Fantastic. Absolutely.
Yeah, I like a character who's like, I'm sick of talking about it. Let's do it. You know.
I did the same thing and picked a virtue in a training. That's funny.
What did you take?
Untamed.
Ooh.
Ooh. Okay.
And far-seeing. So I
And
figured
what?
that-
Far-seeing?
Far-seeing.
Is
I
that
figured-
is that your training? Is that your training? with
That's a
far-seeing?
training. That's
Yep.
actually a
Okay.
side training. So yep.
Yeah.
Fantastic. All right. Very cool.
It's so hard to give up pirate. Anyway.
I already see with like me being focused and assertive and you kind of being like this untamed
Force
like
of nature.
juggernaut. Yeah, force of nature. That will be a really good point of like
It was
role
really
play
kind of you to put that
contention.
in so that I can get away with it because it tends to be how I'm a little scattered. We'll call it untamed.
I mean, you're a 7-year-old in this. Like, it's
Well,
kinda,
that's
it'll
why.
be funny. Yeah, it'll be funny. I just see there being like some comedic moments based on just those alone. So I'm already foreseeing like.
My first playtest of Jump Rangers was with my group of actors and my composer.
Uh-huh.
And it got so silly every single time. It was.
Bet.
I mean, we had people hanging out the back of Saurian starships more times than once, just trying to winch each other back into the cockpit so they can fight the pilot. like all the time, people just getting themselves into the worst possible situations where they think there's no way out of this, and them just escalating the situation until eventually it just explodes every single time. People do let their kids out in this. So, having talked just a little bit about what's going on here, I'm just going to ask you guys a couple questions about kind of what you like about what we've discussed so far, what interests you, if there's anything you're interested in exploring as a kid in the big wide galaxy. Are there any themes or what stands out to you about this game so far? That's my question.
Honestly, playing kids, that's so unique. I've never played a game where the goal is like the character goal essentially is to be a child. So I think in some ways it for an adult it kind of forces you to think like a kid, which is a very unique way of thinking, right? Like we haven't played yet, but I'm just kind of making this assumption like I'm really gonna have to put a lot of focus into like thinking like a child, but also a very like obviously a kid with a lot of responsibility or
a special kid,
you know,
kid
like
but you
yeah,
this
kids
on
who are
yourself.
literally trying to save humanity because the adults are trash and useless. For the most part, not completely, but you know what I mean. Like you know, it kind of I can't think of it. There's like a what is it? What's the concept? Like I think like of these concepts like where they say like you mentioned something about like as you get older you lose psychic ability.
Yeah.
Right. Like you know all that stuff. And there's actually theory to that in real life, which I'm sure you are aware of. That like you know kids like have this sensitivity to parts of existence that we lose as we grow older.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
And so I think that's a really interesting concept in this game because I think it's a true thing. I think that if spirits and all that stuff exist in the world or in other dimensions, kids are going to be quicker to get to it than we are because they don't have all the biases we do.
Yeah.
You know, they're free of that.
That's a great way to put it. That's fantastic. So keep it part of the challenge of my recent Jump Rangers experience is that I've been playing with a lot of people who have gotten very, very cynical. Not in metagame, but in other games, a lot of my Jump Ranger.
Right.
So this is an opportunity to bring it back to that. I'll make sure that we touch on the ridiculousness of it as often as possible.
Yeah.
So I know
Yeah,
we
it sounds like it's gonna be ridiculous fun time. So I'm excited.
Thank you.
I mean, when you spend so much of life, really, well, at least my life, advancing the story, it's kind of fun to get back to a character-driven, because now, funny thing, pursuant to our conversation the other day, this is all about how each action adds, contributes to the
Right.
next, and that changes everything about the
Of course,
gameplay.
yeah. It changes the world too, right?
Right.
Is there any aspect of what we've talked about that strikes you as particularly, in terms of the world building, is there anything that speaks to you as particularly mysterious or interesting?
I am interested as far as like this predatory energy being that somehow has gotten a hold of robot suits. Like there's like what is behind that? How did that come to be? Why are humans interesting to them?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
Okay.
why did they come to our house
why
and step
know,
on our
I mean,
stuff?
I sort of understand dinosaurs hunting us. Like, yeah, okay, they would.
But like, how
But what
intelligent
is
are they? Yeah.
mm-hmm.
I mean,
But
obviously
these
they have
robots
spaceships.
who are actually not even robots, they're robot suits.
Oh, I'm excited by the interest in that. Okay, so that appeals to you as well, Buster. If we had kind of a loom-centric, let's say, investigation.
Yeah, I'm about it. I'm about it. I don't care what I fight. I'm gonna kill
Look,
it.
I was totally a dinosaur kid, but right now
You're a robot, a
it
woman.
kind of sounds like these are actually the biggest guy in the room. So if you're gonna hit someone, you should probably start there, right?
You're not wrong. Like, what's the enemy of your enemy? You know, like,
Right? Like
Okay.
what is this and why are they picking fights? Like
Okay.
sounds like
yeah.
they've
What
got a pretty
motivates robots? What motivates robots? Like, how do they
sounds like they should have a pretty
procreate?
sweet existence.
How do they procreate? I mean, obviously they build more units, but like, why are they motivated to do that? And can we rewrite their program to not make them motivated to do that? Thank you.
Interesting. Interesting. Okay, this is a little bit of a surprise, but I have so kind of in terms of developing the world building and in terms of developing the gameplay. I wrote the rough draft of this book about 10 years ago after getting really frustrated
Mhm.
with Harry Potter movies. Basically, my problem with the whole franchise was like, again, the action. We're giving the wands to the kids, but we're not giving them the power. There's always someone there to tell them what to do. What if
Yeah,
you
there's
took
never like personal like there's very few
Harry,
like
here's what you have to
decisions.
do. Here's what you have to do. Go do it, Harry. Go do it. And
Yeah,
it's
like I get like getting a quest and setting off to do the quest, but like
people do
but
things
it's
because
nice
they
when
think
characters actually like make decisions in the moment rather than like their weird headmaster going, "You must save the world." Well, what? Okay, that's vague, guy. That's real vague.
Obviously the world needs to be saved, but how are you going to save it is what Jump Rangers
Yeah.
comes down to. So ultimately, it was all about taking Dumbledore out of the equation. And also, like you said, Liz, I am a science fiction guy. So for me, and this is fantasy. Like there's plenty that's going to keep you interested here. This isn't hard science fiction.
And fantasy are like real
the
good
line is
cousins.
just the tech.
Yes.
We all know it.
Well, but what I'm
Yeah.
saying is there's no
You're 100% right.
there's no quantum physics arguments to be made for the things that I'm doing here. This is ridiculous. This whole game is ridiculous. At some point, I'm going to have to explain why there are dinosaurs. Are they the Saurian horde? I'm going to have to send Jump Rangers back in time. Like, even that's stupid. Like, no matter what degree to which we work on rationalizing the backstory and the universe of this game, it's just going to get sillier, but that's okay because the kids believe it and understand it. They accept it. So
Right.
there's a safety net there. Not in terms of the logic. The story has to make sense in terms of cause and effect, but in terms
Right.
of the world that we're building, there's a lot of play. There's a lot of play at all times. But so that part of it is always going to be there. But I wanted that accountability. I wanted the kids to be responsible for their own stories on no matter. And part of the fun of Jump Rangers for me is that I don't have to have a protagonist. Like if I'm going to do a cartoon series and I'm going to do a novel, the kids in the cartoon series are not the kids in the novel.
Right.
Like, and
Doesn't have to be.
doesn't
Yeah.
have to be. And it keeps the whole thing diverse, and it keeps giving kids opportunities to see themselves in this world. That's
Right.
the goal, and to take that accountability for okay, how am I going to save the world? Is the question unasked.
I'll tell you how I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna kill some robots.
Pretty sure I'm just
Let's
planning on being a
go.
chaos goblin.
Yeah, you'll be the chaos god. Like it'll be like it's like what's that dichotomy in TV and movie? It's like you've got like the straight man, and then you've got the people around the straight man that like just that
Create
serve as like
havoc.
because it's always the purpose of the straight man is to like show you like this is a normal person.
Right.
Everybody else is like not as askew from that ideal.
Right. But
And
then
it feels like
sometimes
my character might be the straight man. Yours is going to be like Kramer coming into the
But
apartment.
a good straight man knows where to push Kramer.
Yeah, exactly.
See,
Exactly. That's a good point.
I'm like, when do I get a pet robot? That is all I'm asking.
I've always
Yeah.
I've always kind of rationalized. Anyway, I have.
Could have wrote it to school.
What's
Gonna write it. Gonna write it onto a dinosaur
line
spaceship.
from Metalocalypse.
See,
That's my
to
favorite
me,
line
I
from
don't think you're going to
Metalocalypse.
be a straight man. I think you're just going to be good at rationalizing your mayhem. I
Yeah.
think
Normally I'm the person. I'm like Liz in every campaign. I'm the one that's like a ridiculous.
Liz
And
is,
I am usually the mom.
Liz is the
Right,
hard
and
no,
it's-
no,
macho.
we have, no. We got to decide what to do with these
Yeah.
sheep because we got a wizard to kill. Come on now.
Just because my character's focused and assertive doesn't mean they won't be okay with some.
Craziness.
Yeah,
I just need to do something with all my flirtation energy that I won't get to use flirting because I'm 7.
I know. You gonna be like, like you gonna finish that? That's how 7-year-olds don't flirt. They just steal your food.
That is so true. It's
I mean, I don't have kids, but I've been, I borrowed a lot of kids in my life, like cousins and stuff, and I can never have my own plate around them.
and they're always talking smack.
Yeah. Oh, golly. I'm gonna be seeing my cousins this week. And be like, "What's up?" They all think I'm a giant kid. That's all they ever think I am.
That's a good way to approach them, though. I mean, that's better than the alternative, which is that they.
Yeah, but when you're like trying to tell them to like do something, then they
Just
don't.
threaten them with harm. They'll do
it's
it, but they don't really take you seriously.
Yeah, then you have to act like an older sibling, like. But then then they go cry to their actual parents, your aunt and uncle, and you're like, "Well, I didn't." I mean...
You got always side with Auntie. That's the deal.
All right,
it's true.
All right, I know what to do this.
Who
week.
in this case is Tennyson.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tennyson is Auntie.
Yeah. Hey.
I will have to rewrite my Chiron to reflect this. All right. So, Buster, you've decided on Bam Bam?
My other was Bada Bing. But then I thought that's the strip club in Sopranos.
Yeah.
So I think Bam Bam is gonna be it.
Okay.
Bam Bam Boom Boom.
Liz, do you have a name for your character?
It's not the most creative use of, but I'm gonna go with Ripper.
I like it. No, I like it
because my 7-year-old is Ripley.
So it's an homage.
I can't go. It's an homage to the 7-year-old.
It's a
but
tribute
going
song.
mostly
Yeah.
with her behavior versus her name.
Wait,
And
you
she's
named your
pretty
daughter?
badass, but-
You didn't wait a second. I just made that connection. You named your daughter Ripley.
Yeah.
Man,
And yes, it is.
Man,
yes.
we're gonna get along so good. I just saw the Alien films for the very first time, like this year.
What?
And like in the last year.
Really?
I know. I never I've always read about them like on a like theater, because I took theater and all the stuff. We would always like do these papers, like we talk about media. And then everybody was like, "We're gonna watch Alien," and I was like, "I refuse to watch that," and here's why. And I gave them a slew of reasons, and they were like, "You know more about Alien than we do." So I'm like, "Yeah," especially whatever the H.R. Giger, whatever the guy's name is.
James Cameron never made a better movie than Aliens. He never.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, Aliens is definitely peak.
Yeah.
Which is not common, but hey, I'll take movie 2 over movie 1 this time. anytime.
I just don't like gross stuff, and that's why I didn't like it. I
Uh,
didn't want to watch it
Once
back
you
in the
get
day.
past Alien 4, but the thing that I loved about the Aliens franchise is that they trusted their director so much. Like who lets Jean-Pierre Jeunet make a tentpole movie? Like,
Yeah,
what's wrong with you people? Like, and people are upset that we have, oh, what's his name? The guy from, you know who I'm talking about. The guy from the Halloween movies. Saying, "You're a beautiful, beautiful
Oh,
baby." You know who I'm talking about, though, right?
yeah.
And Wormtongue from Lord of the Rings,
yeah.
and he's
Sorry.
and people get so mad about stuff. Like, do you realize how
Yeah.
unlikely this is? Do you realize how unlikely it is to have Ron Perlman and a bunch of French people, like, and Winona Ryder and Sigourney Weaver starring in what amounts to a role-playing game movie?
I know.
Yeah.
Like,
That is true. It was pretty
I
good.
do love Ron Perlman. Though.
I will never understand if he is good or not, but I will watch him in anything.
He's dedicated.
Anything.
His commitment is above reproach, regardless of anything else. Like, you cannot tell
Yeah.
me that man doesn't go all in. Like,
And I really loved his Hellboy.
You know that
so good.
what is it? There's a place in Star Citizen, and it's on one of the moons, I think. Magda, I think. Back in the day, we used to go to Perlman all the time, right?
Oh.
Perlman's one of the places you could land, like back when Magda, and like there was this huge crater in it. We used to play this game where it was basically skee ball with ships and other and ground vehicles. It was awesome. We set up like 3 ships hovering and see how many points you could get, like getting the smaller cargo, land in the smaller cargo, like you go, you jump off but at the edge of the crater.
Okay.
But like we would play that, but we'd always call that place like, let's go to Ron Perlman. We're going to Ron Perlman. Play some bowling and some skee ball with our ships and our
He is the kind
vehicles.
of person that they really do have to hire at some point. Like, there's going to be so much content for Star Citizen, and Ron Perlman isn't getting any younger, which means,
God, I would love for him to just be like some dude on Levski. Oh my God, he'd be perfect for that.
There's so much booth work coming, and
I miss Levski.
It's coming. It's coming. Hang tight. Believe.
I want them to support like actual voice actors that do that for a living, but sprinkle in Ron Perlman at some point, please.
Absolutely.
Not just like big name actors who cost crap tons of money to do like 5 lines for one-off character.
I don't imagine. I mean, he'd do it for a day rate. He'd do it for. Voice acting is.
Yeah, there's a whole thing, but anyway.
And there's a deep nerd.
Yeah,
you just know. There are some that are like that, and
yeah, and they did a good job of finding those people for Squadron, but Ron Perlman is one that they have to go back for sure. All right. I think we have.
I want to make one note. If you know what, it would have been a really good pair of names for us had we gone for a more buddy cop route for 2 girl characters, Cagney and Lacey. That's like one of my favorite old jokes. Like, if I ever had twins, like, not that I ever played on my parents, but if I ever had twin girls, I always wanted to name them Cagney and Lacey.
That's amazing.
That would be brilliant. I would love that. Nobody wouldn't love that when they first heard it.
No, they wouldn't even know what was up until they were 17, and then as soon as they figured it out,
yeah, they'd have no. I'd never tell. Like, if I ever had kids, I would never tell them. I would never tell them what their name comes from.
And
wait till like that first like older person, like people our age or older, going, wait a second, your name's Cagney and Lacey.
Yep.
And then by then you've trained them to love you no matter what.
Yeah, exactly. They can't fight me.
Exactly. Yeah, going with Ripper.
I like
mostly because it'll make her happy.
Oh, I think it's you both understood the assignment clearly.
Yeah.
So
very descriptive names for our characters.
You're going in this with the right spirit. You understand the game. You understand what we're dealing with. Obviously, you get where this is going, and I look forward to trying to make a cohesive narrative out of what comes next. So, like, and that's the goal. I'm
actually undecided if my character's a boy or a girl because I've always wanted to play a guy. I've never
create the narrative. I'm a.
You can be.
And I sound like a boy, a little boy when I talk. If you don't see my face, so I got that part covered. Oh man, you're doing too much. Miss Johnson, you're doing too much. God.
You could have been Ash Ketchum.
Is that,
Not that
is
Nancy
that
did it.
Glee?
Not that Nancy did it wrong.
Is that glow that I'm seeing, Buster? at that notion.
Oh man. God.
Yeah, there's money
That's
in
how
their
my-
house.
that's
You
how-
probably could make some decent money
that's how
as a
my little
voice
boy
actor,
cuts his
Buster.
stock.
It's worth looking into if you have an interest in
Well, I'll tell you what. My
What's that?
dad works down at Strickland Propane on the Colony.
Oh my god.
it. Yep, you sound just like that little kid who drove the truck in Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Oh my god. I haven't thought about that in so long. Okay, let's stop screwing around. I'm just gonna
Yes.
screw around all day.
Thank you for doing this. I will have a campaign ready for you next week. I know exactly where we're going with this.
Heck
it's gonna be a lot
yeah.
of fun. It's gonna be a little freaky. It's gonna take some finesse to do what needs to be done, and that it obviously means
Yeah.
it's gonna disintegrate very quickly. But we'll see how we manage that. And in the meantime, I'm really looking forward.
Did you just question our finesse?
Yeah.
I did.
You did not question
Did you just question my finesse?
our finesse.
Miss
Like I
Johnson!
said, you build that
Miss
narrative.
Johnson!
I'm
I'm
breaking
like
it.
so smooth.
Yep. We'll see.
Those dinosaurs don't even know that. Like they think they thought I was a bush the other day because I had like leaves on my head. Okay.
All right.
God.
Sold.
God.
Sold.
Yep.
Yep. This is definitely the game of two kids in a trench coat. That's exactly. More than once.
Two kids in a trench coat with a very big gun.
And with that.
And with that.
Thank you. If anybody has any questions, you guys know where to find me. We have a special Discord session, and I'll call it The Rookies. I'll rename it so you guys know where to find it.
Heck yeah, that's awesome. I love that name. That's fun.
This is on Twitch right now. I'll have it up on the Jump Rangers YouTube channel before the day is done.
I need a baseball bat in my equipment, by the way. Putting that in. I don't care what you say.
You can have a baseball bat. You can have a baseball
Grand Slam, baby.
Strength +1. A body +1 damage. Body plus
There
1
we go.
damage.
I'm going to write that down. Sorry.
No need to apologize.
Bada bing!
Yeah.
Bada boom.
Any other questions before we break? Before we stop streaming, and then I'll just do a quick postmortem with you guys.
I have a question.
Yeah.
How long do you think, like, what time length do you plan on sessions to be? Like, will
I
you
would
do
say
like a
we'll give ourselves half an hour to make sure that we'll give ourselves half an hour of lead-in every
to
time.
get in, say hi, yeah.
And then I usually it's an hour to an hour and a half.
Okay, you run a short session. That's cool.
Well, it's the
that's
internet,
right on.
and everybody's busy. Everybody's working. We've all got
Right.
jobs to do. I can't possibly commit to longer than that. And it's
Yeah.
part of the point of this is to get people interested in how the game works, to get them.
And if you have giant 5-hour sessions, it can get monotonous. I mean, not monotonous, but it can get tiresome to watch that. Yeah.
That's exactly right. I don't want people.
Yeah.
I want
Because that was a struggle with Star Trek Adventures, because every session is supposed to be like essentially an episode of Star Trek. And it would be like, sometimes it'd be like, I get a session done in 2 hours. Other times I get the group done in like 5. Like,
Now, are you part of kind of the online Star Trek gaming tabletop community? Are you part of that whole?
I'm not like involved in the community, but I've played a couple games. Like I ran one, I played 2. Like
I used to know
publicly,
Eric
so.
Campbell pretty well, and I still.
Oh yeah. Oh my God, I would kill to play in one of his tables. I have been such a fan of his for so long.
Oh.
I am a huge fan. You might have to tell him. About
You know
me.
what,
Okay.
Buster? He and I have a lot of the same friends, so we used to run into each other all the time. And in fact, the first time I ever.
Do you know Eliza? Do you know Eliza Pearl?
No, I know Bonnie Gordon.
Okay. Okay, I don't know her, but yeah.
Bonnie was in his first session, and then she was the computer on Star Trek Prodigy.
You'll have to, next time you run into him in his circles. You might have to say, "Oh, I know somebody that's a huge fan."
I
Whatever.
You know what, Buster? If getting at one of his tables is something that you're interested in, I will. send
I'm
you-
picky though. I want to play Star Trek. That's it. I don't want to play vampire. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, I do not have the finesse. Secret word of the day. I do not have the finesse for vampires.
I see.
I am
It's
I am
you're a Jump
I'm a
Rangers person.
Klingon.
Yeah.
I'm a Klingon all the way in all stages. The only time I finesse is in D&D. I will admit that, and I can because I understand. But bards like I play a mean bard, not a mean bard, but I play like very rich. Like all my bards have ended up very rich people, so I'm
You
good.
play a successful bard, is what you're saying.
Very successful.
All right.
Pretty
Liz,
strong moss.
Buster, thank you very much. Thank you to everybody who actually showed up on stream. I am
Yeah, thank
bad
you.
at getting people to show up for Jump Rangers. So if you like what you see, I'm going to put this on our weekly schedule so you can see it coming. Please don't be a stranger, Ranger. That's.
I love it. I love it.
And with that, I'm going to log off. Thank you. We'll see you. What's the next thing? What's today, you guys? Thursday is the next thing. Thursday at 5 p.m., I do readings from Jump Rangers stuff. Right now, we're wrapping up the rough draft of the novel. I'm reading it out loud to get a sense of cadence and what needs work. And after
Mhm.
that's done, there's going to be a whole pile of supplements. This is what I was telling you earlier. I finished the tabletop role-playing book. Over the pandemic, I went through, I edited it, I made sure everything's working the way it needs to. And then I did about 5 big supplements. And then for a year and a half, I did weekly micro supplements. So I have this huge pile of like, here's a planet, here's bits and pieces of stuff that caught my interest. Sometimes it was just ethics, but all these various documents that need to get gone through. And that's what's going to be the focus of Ranger Stories, which is our 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific time stream on Thursdays. So if anybody wants to check in and argue with me about world building or just hear what's going on and talk to me about Jump Rangers, that's a good time to do it. And then hopefully, knock on wood, Saturday we'll have Federico Estevao, who is our amazing Brazilian concept artist. He's fantastic. And my wife, Ippy Looney, on stream for Metagame. And that's Saturday at 2 p.m. 2 p.m. 2 p.m. I think. Anyway, follow us on socials. I'll make sure I get that to you. Thank you for watching. And as I said, don't be a stranger, Ranger.